Check this out. Wow.
Angel Reese just experienced one of the most humiliating games of her career, and frankly, it was tough to watch. She wasn't just playing poorly, she was a complete train wreck.
She has her worst professional pro game.
Sloppy turnovers, absurd mistakes, and a reckless play style that seemed more fit for the WWE than the WNBA. Angel Reese stepped onto the court brimming with confidence, acting like she was about to take over the game. But reality quickly set in. Napheesa Collier wasn't intimidated. She stayed composed, let her game do the talking, and made sure Reese had a front row seat to her own downfall. And the best part? Collier had the last laugh with a cold-blooded game-winning shot, leaving Reese shocked, confused, and completely exposed. All that trash talk? Useless. All those cheap shots? Wasted. This wasn't just a loss for Angel Reese, it was a full-blown meltdown. Trust me, we're about to break down every cringeworthy moment that proves she's not as untouchable as she thinks. Picture this. You're a basketball star, striding onto the court with complete confidence, ready to take control. The lights are bright, the crowd is buzzing, and your team is counting on you. This is your moment. The game is set, the stakes are high, and fans are expecting a performance they'll never forget. But instead of showcasing your skills, you become the star of your own blooper reel. That's exactly what happened to Angel Reese in a recent unforgettable game.
Angel Reese with what looks like a very dirty move under the basket. Check this out. I mean, wow.
Angel Reese didn't just have a rough game. She had one that people will remember for all the wrong reasons. From turnovers to missed shots, from trash talk that backfired to an embarrassing finish. This performance is one that fans and critics will be talking about for a long time. In fact, if there were a Hall of Fame for self-inflicted sports disasters, this game might just earn Angel Reese its own special wing.
Angel Reese was on Napheesa Collier, giving her a bunch of frustrating bumps, and at the end of the game, the Lunar Owls does come away with the dub.
Now, let's dive into it. Reese stepped onto the court with all the swagger you'd expect from a star player. She walked in like she owned the place, chest out, full of confidence, and ready to put on a show. She was talking trash before the first whistle even blew, making faces, taunting opponents, and acting like she was about to deliver a career-defining performance. The energy was there, but the execution? That was nowhere to be found.
I mean, Angel Reese is out there looking like a UFC fighter.
It didn't take long for things to start unraveling. Right from the tip-off, it was clear that Reese was more focused on putting on a show than actually playing effective basketball. Rather than sticking to the fundamentals, she was too busy playing for the cameras, throwing up wild shots, making risky moves, and trash-talking the opposing team. But confidence without substance is just arrogance, and Reese quickly spiraled out of control. Her bravado turned into visible frustration, which only fueled her recklessness. One moment, she was showing off flashy footwork. The next, she was fumbling the ball like it was radioactive. You could see it on her face. She knew things weren't going her way, but instead of adjusting, she doubled down on the chaos. If there was ever a time to play smart, disciplined basketball, this was it. Instead, she turned the game into a personal highlight reel of what not to do on the court.
It looked very intentional, everything that is happening with the Unrivaled League, because all of this stuff transpired, like I stated, just 4 to 5 hours after it was announced that Super Nunescu was quitting the league.
Wow, did it backfire in spectacular fashion. With every mistake, she got sloppier, forcing plays instead of letting the game come to her. Rather than proving she was the dominant force she claimed to be, she became the main attraction for all the wrong reasons. By the time halftime hit, the only ones entertained were the fans watching her unravel in real time. Now, let's talk numbers, because they don't lie. Reese had 7 turnovers. Yes, 7. And we're not talking about minor slip-ups. These were, did she really just do that? Moments that made fans cringe and laugh all at once. One of the most cringe-worthy moments came when she threw the basketball straight at the backboard and then, brace yourself, rebounded her own pass.
Angel Reese rebounded her own pass. Guys, I'm dead. I saw this and was like, this can't be real.
Yes, you read that correctly. she passed the ball to herself. Fans watching at home couldn't believe their eyes. It was the kind of mistake you'd expect from a middle school player, not a professional athlete. It was as if she had a sudden identity crisis and thought she was playing handball instead of basketball. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, she followed it up with another disaster, a completely unnecessary no-look pass. The problem? There was no one there to catch it. The ball sailed out of bounds like it had somewhere more important to be. Even her teammates seemed baffled by what she was trying to do. Maybe she was auditioning for a comedy skit instead of leading her team to victory. It was like she thought she was on a Harlem Globetrotters show, but forgot the part where you actually have to be good at the tricks.
The Lunar Owls rushed the Rose BC, and Angel, well, she did some rather interesting things on the court.
And it wasn't just those 2 moments. Reese made sure to showcase a full range of turnovers, dribbling straight into defenders? Check. Getting stripped because she wasn't paying attention? Check. Passing to a teammate who wasn't even looking? Double check. At one point, it felt like she was playing for both teams, handing the ball to the opponents like it was a holiday gift. It was as if she was in an internal competition. How many different ways could she give the ball away? Mission accomplished. 7 turnovers in a single game is bad enough. But the way she did it, legendary, just not in a good way. But turnovers weren't the only problem that night. Reese wasn't just handing the ball off. She was also playing a brand of basketball focused more on brute force than actual skill, which led to yet another chapter in her nightmare of a performance.
Angel was 8 for 16 for 17 points, 10 boards last night. 7 damn turnovers. 7.
She was pushing, shoving, and trying to intimidate everyone in her path, especially her opponent, Napheesa Collier. But Collier wasn't having any of it. While Reese was busy playing the tough girl role, Collier stayed calm, stayed focused, and kept her eyes on the prize. And that's exactly what she ended up winning. It was like watching a chess master face off against someone who thought flipping the board was a legitimate strategy. Spoiler alert, it's not. Reese was out there throwing elbows, body-checking opponents, and making every play feel personal, like she thought the game had turned into a boxing match. But instead of rattling Collier, it only fueled her determination. While Reese was trying to muscle her way through, Collier stayed calm, composed, and completely unfazed by the chaos. Reese, on the other hand, was falling apart. She wasn't just turning the ball over, she was launching some of the worst shots you could imagine. And when I say bad, I mean high school gym teacher bad, airballing in front of a crowd. She kept throwing up wild shots, hoping something would fall, but instead, she kept bricking attempts, missing layups, and handing Collier and her teammates easy chances to take control. It was like watching someone trying to play basketball with their eyes closed, hoping for a miracle.
Caitlin Clark is going to spend all of next season playing in NBA arenas. We've got rival fans being furious that, Caitlin Clark is that she's getting new arenas, getting moved to new arenas. You've got people saying that they're pushing the fever. Why are they pushing the fever?
Caitlin Clark isn't just making waves, she's flooding the league. WNBA franchises are practically abandoning their home courts like they've been hit with a fire alarm that says, Caitlin's coming. Teams like Atlanta, Chicago, Connecticut, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C. are all scrambling to larger venues just to handle the Clark impact. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is probably doom-scrolling, wondering why her name isn't splashed across those massive billboards.
One thing is very clear. The Indiana Fever is America's team. And boy, the haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. I mean, it's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
Take a moment to absorb this. WNBA teams are willingly leaving behind their cherished home courts to make room for one rookie phenom. This isn't hype. This is history in the making. 6 different franchises are moving their games to NBA arenas, meaning every Indiana Fever road game is now played in a venue with at least 15,000 seats. This isn't about following a trend. It's because Caitlin Clark has the kind of draw that fills arenas like no one else in the league. While some teams are still playing in what feel like converted gymnasiums, Caitlin's impact demands NBA-level venues. That's the kind of territory reserved for superstars.
That there are 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games to NBA or NBA size arenas.
Let's not kid ourselves. These aren't just slightly larger gymnasiums. These are full-blown arena upgrades. The Atlanta Dream are stepping up to the State Farm Arena. The Chicago Sky, yes, the same team that once treated Angel Reese like the second coming of Michael Jordan, are now dialing it back with 2 games at the United Center. And it's not for Reese, it's for Clark. Because unless the Indiana Fever are in town, Reese might as well be playing at a local community center. Even the Aces, with their glitz and trophies, are booking the T-Mobile Arena just to prepare for the Fever Frenzy.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. Hey, coming to watch the other girl, right?
Right! Bang!
Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that?
Bang!
Angel Reese attempted a 3 this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
You want some butter with that bread? Butter. Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
It's honestly hilarious when you think about it. Just last season, these teams were all acting like Caitlin Clark was just another rookie. We don't need her, they boasted, chests puffed. The league is fine without her. And now, here we are. The same teams are practically begging for court space big enough to accommodate the Clark crowds. It's not just about rolling out the red carpet anymore. It's like tearing up the road and rebuilding it with gold bricks.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center. Home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks in Atlanta, by the way. That's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden, home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
Special shout out to Connecticut. This franchise doesn't even have an NBA arena nearby. So what do? They pack up and move the whole operation to Boston. Yep, new state, new zip code, new everything, just to make room for Caitlin Clark. That's not just special treatment, that's royalty-level hospitality. Can you imagine if Angel Reese tried to pull the same stunt? They'd probably laugh her all the way to some suburban middle school gym.
We're now at the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible. I'm not joking when I say this. For like games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for like 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
And it doesn't stop there. The Dallas Wings and Washington Mystics are also moving their Clark matchups to larger venues, complete with extra seating, luxury suites, and, let's face it, bigger profit margins. This isn't a coincidence, it's strategic planning. When Caitlin Clark rolls into town, it's not just a game, it's an economic boom. One ESPN analyst even dubbed her the WNBA's walking GDP boost. He meant it as a joke, but honestly, the numbers speak for themselves.
There are teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlin Clark shows up to town with the Fever.
Now, let's check in on the critics. The same ones who were screaming from the rooftops that Clark was overhyped have suddenly gone awfully quiet. Why? Because their arenas are packed, their jerseys are flying off the shelves, and their TV ratings are through the roof. All thanks to the player they once claimed didn't matter. And as for Angel Reese, she's still stewing over her not-so-unrivaled championship, watching Caitlin dominate the spotlight, the schedule, and the arenas.
The Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah.
Before Caitlin Clark hit the WNBA, the average game barely drew 6,000 fans, about as many as you'd see at a high school pep rally. But Clark? She's effortlessly filling 20,000-seat arenas like it's no big deal. That's not just an increase, that's triple the usual turnout. These fans aren't there for the home team, they're showing up for her. WNBA execs are practically falling over themselves, openly admitting they'd give up home court advantage just to cash in on the Clark phenomenon. That's not hype. That's a walking ATM and sneakers.
I believe there was actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional.
Bang! Bang!
People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful.
Bang!
93% of her games on national TV.
She's like that! Bang!
Let's talk numbers. WNBA attendance shot up by 48% last season, and unless your math is off, that increase has Caitlin Clark's name written all over it. Teams aren't just scheduling her games, they're building their entire season around her appearances. The Las Vegas Aces, the same team that snickers whenever Clark's name trends, have quietly moved multiple games to the T-Mobile Arena. Why? Because they know the Caitlin effect is the real MVP. All the eye rolls and cryptic tweets aside, even they can't deny she's the main attraction.
Now we've got some more information on the games and some perspective. Here we are. Indiana Fever put this out, man, just a few minutes ago. All eyes on us. 41 of our 44 games are on national television.
Now, here's where it gets wild. Caitlin Clark has secured 41 nationally televised games this season. That's not just more airtime than any other player. It's more than entire franchises have had in years. We're talking ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV. Every network wants a piece of the Clark action. It's a broadcast feeding frenzy, and trust me, no one's settling for leftovers.
The most television games in franchise history, the most national television games in for a single team in WNBA history. How about that?
Last season, the Indiana Fever were basically an afterthought. They were the dusty book collecting cobwebs on the bottom shelf, overlooked and forgotten. But with Caitlin Clark in the mix, they've transformed into the league's golden child, now the star attraction in every primetime slot. The same team that struggled at the bottom of the standings is now the crown jewel of WNBA coverage. And you know that's stinging players like Angel Reese. For years, they assumed the throne was just waiting for them. But then Caitlin Clark shows up, shattering records, drawing massive ratings, and showing off a range that leaves everyone in the dust. Suddenly, it's her show, and the spotlight's all hers.
Angel Reese did things last night I'm not sure we've ever seen on a basketball court. I was like, is this real? Did this happen?
Angel Reese just had one of the most humiliating performances of her career, and it wasn't just about the numbers. It was the way she completely unraveled on the court. From careless mistakes to needless aggression, Reese put on a meltdown that left everyone stunned and speechless.
The Lunar Owls crushed the Rose BC, and Angel, well, she did some rather interesting things on the court. And Napheesa Collier, well, look now, one thing we could say, they are not afraid of Angel Reese and the Rose BC, because after hitting the game-winning shot, Napheesa had some real words towards Angel Reese.
But the real highlight? Napheesa Collier had seen enough of Reese's antics and decided to show her a lesson in the most perfect way possible. If you want to see how to shut down a trash talker, you're in the right spot. Stick around, because we're diving into every laugh-out-loud moment that revealed Angel Reese for what she truly is, a player more concerned with drama than real basketball.
Angel Reese looks like a very dirty move under the basket.
Spot draws two, sling it, Reese!
Angel Reese entered this game with her usual swagger, acting like she was ready to dominate. But it didn't take long to see she was more focused on showboating than actually helping her team. Instead of playing smart, she spent the game trying to intimidate her opponents, tossing reckless passes, and making one poor decision after another.
She's going to go in, and then after she hits it, she's going to bark her head off at Angel Reese.
8 to shoot. Tiggins Smith matched up by Gray.
Right
Sights
there.
To the ball. Collier
Game
wins
winner.
it.
Look at her. She's
12-1.
talking mad.
Queen Bee.
Mad.
Angel Reese was on Napheesa Collier, giving her a bunch of frustrating bumps.
Let's dive into the numbers, because, frankly, they're laughable. Reese turned the ball over 7 times. Yep, you read that correctly. 7 turnovers. And these weren't just small slip-ups. We're talking about some of the most absurd blunders you'll ever witness at the pro level. At one point, Reese launched the ball right into the backboard, grabbed her own errant pass like she was playing a solo game of catch, and then stood there looking utterly baffled, as if she couldn't believe what had just unfolded.
Angel Reese rebounded her own pass. I saw this and was like, this can't be real. Angel Reese thought she was playing dodgeball out there.
Reese's overconfidence really caught up with her as she launched some of the most absurd shots you can imagine, completely off the mark. When she wasn't airballing, she was out there trying to play bully ball, repeatedly shoving and body checking Napheesa Collier, all in a desperate attempt to get under her skin.
Angel was 8 for 16 for 17 points, 10 boards last night, 7 turnovers. Napheesa Collier right here, 7 of 16. She had 16 points, 9 rebounds, but she had the most important thing, the game winner last night.
But here's where the real fun kicks off. Instead of letting Reese's antics rattle her, Collier did exactly what a true pro would do. She stayed locked in, kept her focus on the game, and absolutely exposed Reese for the fraud she is. Every time Reese tried to get physical, Collier answered in the best way possible by lighting her up on the scoreboard.
I mean, Angel Reese is out there looking like a UFC fighter.
If you're a hoops fan, if you're a basketball fan, and you watch this, I don't give a shit if you are an Angel Reese fan. You can't tell me this is not egregious.
They're doing everything they have to do to sell this league.
Angel Reese's desperation hit a peak when she pulled off one of the most awkward defensive plays of the game. Trying to muscle her way into position, she completely lost her balance and crashed to the floor like she was auditioning for a role in a B-movie. The best part? The refs weren't having any of it. No whistle, no foul. Just a cringeworthy moment that had fans face-palming.
Angel Reese is the most unskilled basketball player in the history of basketball, in my opinion. She has no skills. She knows that she's not a very good basketball player. That's why she spends so much time half naked and taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball.
Social media didn't hold back, quickly roasting her for that ridiculous flop. Fans were quick to point out that for all her talk about being a tough, physical player, she sure crumpled like a paper bag when it worked in her favor. It was another harsh reminder that while Reese loves playing the villain, she doesn't exactly shine when the heat's on. Instead of stepping up and asserting her dominance, she turned to antics that only made her look more out of her depth.
This is Angel Reese, the content creator side. It's pretty clear basketball is her top priority. I cannot imagine how anybody could view this athlete in any other way. It's clear basketball is front and foremost. This is all helping with things like shooting better from the field and missing layups. She has no rhythm, just like she can't make a layup. Practice layups. OnlyFans incoming.
Meanwhile, Napheesa Collier stayed locked in, letting her game do the talking. While Reese was flailing for attention, Collier was racking up buckets, showing why she's one of the best. Every time Reese tried to rattle her, Collier responded with pure skill. And just when it seemed like Reese's night couldn't get worse, she panicked and threw a pass right into an opponent's hands. Another turnover, another wasted chance, another embarrassing moment.
I think Angel's more concerned about being an influencer, content creator, over being a better basketball player. This was her taking pictures, hanging out with some rappers and producers, etc.
You think you could get a bucket in this format, full court 3-on-3?
You don't think I can get a bucket?
Yeah.
If Angel Reese on my team, yeah.
By the end of the game, the contrast between the two players was painfully obvious. Collier was the epitome of professionalism, calm, collected, and clutch when it mattered most. Reese? She was nothing more than an overhyped mess, letting her emotions control her every move. It was a night to forget for Reese, but for fans who've watched her antics all season, it was just another glaring reminder that she's nowhere near the superstar she claims to be. This loss wasn't just another tally in the column, it was the brutal exposure of her reckless, undisciplined play. While she's built a brand on trash talk and drama, games like this lay bare why she's nowhere close to the level of true stars like Collier or Caitlin Clark. The difference between all the noise and real talent was put on full display, and in the end, Reese walked away with nothing but yet another humiliating loss.
Caitlin Clark says, how do you say bang in Portuguese? It don't matter! Bang! Bang! For a preseason game, they flew up from Brazil, lost by 64, and got to make TikToks with Caitlin Clark after the game. Where do I sign up? Bang! Not sure why they played the game in Iowa, because Caitlin Clark, she was still shooting the shot from South America, baby! Bang!
Caitlin Clark found herself utterly stunned, and this time, it wasn't because she sank a shot from the logo or broke yet another record. Not at all. It was something far more unexpected. The whole Brazilian national team, along with their coach, offered such astonishing praise that even the most composed star in basketball was left at a loss for words.
The team were lining up to get autographs. She signed their jerseys. They were getting them to sign. They were getting her to sign their jerseys. She was signing the players' jerseys. This is like Dream Team. This is literally like Dream Team stuff. We haven't seen this since the damn Dream Team. She is literally signing the jerseys of teams she played against. She is signing their jerseys. They're that much in awe of her.
This wasn't your typical "she's amazing" cliche. It was a show-stopping moment from a seasoned basketball veteran, and Caitlin was left blinking like, did that really just happen? Picture being praised so openly and unexpectedly that it feels like a defining moment in your career. That's the magnitude we're talking about. And guess who faced the very same squad just days earlier and didn't receive that kind of admiration? Angel Reese. And she's not happy about it. Drop a comment with where you're tuning in from so we can see just how far the CC fan base stretches across the US and around the globe. Let's get it.
How are you? Good, how are you?
Are you an amazing player? Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're changing the history in basketball.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming here.
Let's take a moment to truly soak this in. Brazil, the land of samba, soccer legends, and mouthwatering steaks, has now made room in its cultural heart for Caitlin Clark admiration. Who saw that coming? In a simple preseason exhibition, not a championship or high-stakes clash, Caitlin commanded so much attention, she might as well have shifted the sport's center of gravity. Brazil's head coach, a veteran, likely coaching since before many fans were born, watched her play and reacted like he'd just witnessed the female version of Michael Jordan. This wasn't just praise, it was pure reverence.
The team she played against last night, and I understand a lot of this team was young, but the team she played against last night, getting pictures with Caitlin Clark at the end of the game, having her literally sign their jerseys, and those jerseys, you better believe the coach of the rival team being in shock. Like, this is the dream team. This is the dream team. This is the opponents getting pictures with the dream team.
And it didn't end there. The coach didn't just hand out compliments and move on. He nearly sanctified her then and there. This wasn't the recycled flattery from a faded commentator stuck in the glory days of the 90s. This was authentic, elite-level admiration. He spoke of her like she was a legend come to life, as if she'd descended from Mount Olympus, grabbed a basketball, and chosen the WNBA as her side hustle. And coming from a man whose nation treats soccer as sacred, that level of respect is nothing short of golden.
Brazil, their coaching, had no answer whatsoever for Caitlin Clark. And they threw so many different looks at her. Like, I've never seen a team throw so many different looks at a player.
But hold on, it gets even better. After the game, Caitlin didn't just exit like a typical star. She stuck around to autograph Brazil's national team jersey because they asked her to. Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark, basketball's brightest star, signed their jersey like it was just part of her routine. But that wasn't just ink on fabric. That was a generational stamp. That was the Mona Lisa putting her name on the Sistine Chapel.
There you go. Best luck, guys.
Go viral with that shot.
I know, I'm crazy.
After you that, can we do a TikTok video?
And here's the kicker. Caitlin didn't do it with a shred of ego. There was no smug grin, no dramatic pause to fix her shades. She signed that jersey with poise, warmth, and the kind of effortless humility that makes you question if she's a real human or the blueprint for the ideal athlete. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is out here blocking fans and tweeting that she doesn't have time for the small stuff, while Caitlyn's casually out here brokering international goodwill with a pen stroke.
We know that we can be the best front court in this league, so just trying to do the best as we can. I think in this offseason, we got the shooters that we needed, and as you can see tonight, we have some great shooters out there, which the space is out for both of us, so I think we're in a great direction.
Just hours before tip-off, Brazil's players were out there channeling their inner Caitlyn, launching deep threes and warm-ups like they were trying out for a highlight reel spoof. But after the final buzzer, those very same players transformed into starstruck fans, lining up like they were at a pop concert. Phones in hand, faces lit up, pleading for selfies and autographs like she was Beyoncé. Only this queen had a basketball in her hand.
Across the footage of the Brazilian national team dancing on Caitlin Clark logo at Carva Arena. Man, a lot of people had mixed reviews about it. Well, it looked like that wasn't the only clip because the entire team got in on the action, bruh. Got in on the jumping on Caitlin Clark logo, stomping on it. Damn.
Caitlyn walked onto the court and did exactly what everyone was secretly hoping for. Drained a deep three with such effortless precision, it left the crowd audibly stunned. She wasn't putting on a show for the spotlight, she was simply doing what she always does, shattering expectations like it was routine. The Brazilian team, still trying to catch their breath after witnessing pure excellence, suddenly realized they hadn't just been outplayed, they'd become part of the moment. Not the kind you brag about, but the kind that gets replayed in every sports montage for the next 10 years.
They were there. They were knocking her on her ass a couple of times. They were being physical. They were denying her. They didn't try to stop during the game. They just did not have it. They're so excited. They're taking pictures with her after the game. They're taking pictures. They're taking pictures with her like.
That's the distinction. Caitlyn doesn't just show up to play, she takes full command. While others are busy fueling Twitter drama or chasing brand deals that fade quicker than a missed Reese jumper, Caitlyn is busy reshaping the trajectory of the WNBA. Brazil didn't just tip their hat to her, they were completely awestruck. And honestly, who could fault them for it?
Excuse me, pardon me, just trying to get through real quick. Sorry about that. Bang! Excuse me, ma'am, hold on. I think you dropped something. Oh, it's a dime. Floater, look at that. Big it, bang, boom, 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 bang. And her misses are majestic and set up her teammates for success. Look at this soft bounce off the rim, put back by her teammate. Bang! Just stand in the corner, clap your heels together 3 times and cut to the basket. Caitlin Clark will find you every single time.
You know who didn't get that kind of reception from Brazil? Angel Reese. No crowds begging for selfies, no glowing remarks from the coach, no jerseys treated like priceless memorabilia, just some missed layups and empty energy. It's almost as if respect isn't something you declare on Twitter, it's something you earn on the court. Let's be honest. When was the last time a foreign coach raved about Reese's performance? When has a national team queued up for her autograph like kids waiting to meet Mickey Mouse? In a single night, Brazil gave Caitlin Clark more admiration than Reese has managed to squeeze out of years of self-marketing. And that's the core issue. Reese keeps insisting she is the moment, while Caitlyn keeps making them.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person." She refuses to say Caitlin Clark's name. "It's because of me too, and I want you to realize that."
And while Reese's camp is probably furiously refreshing their mentions, Caitlyn's just taking boos after casually reminding the world why she's the face of the league. She didn't ask for the spotlight, she took it. And now the whole world, from Iowa to Sao Paulo, knows the truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just great, she's global. Brazil didn't just see a player, they saw a movement, and, like the rest of us, they wanted in. Because when Caitlin Clark steps on a court, she doesn't just change the game, she changes the atmosphere. And if Angel Reese wants to know what that feels like, well, she'll have to do a lot more than practice posing for the cameras. There's a reason the Brazilian team didn't pose for pictures with Angel Reese. There's a reason they weren't reposting highlights of her jump shots. Because when Caitlin Clark's in the gym, the energy shifts, the air changes. People know they're watching something special, something rare. Reese might talk like she's the future of women's basketball, but Caitlin is out here getting standing ovations in multiple languages.
All eyes around the state, around the country, around the world are on the Indiana Fever. And Bria, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Caitlin Clark has just shattered expectations by achieving in 41 games what took Diana Taurasi a staggering 565 games to reach. Take a moment to let that sink in. What we're seeing unfold, from rookie to sophomore, is not just impressive. It might be one of the most extraordinary leaps in the history of professional basketball.
There it is! A triple.
Everyone's buzzing about Caitlin Clark's triple-double, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. In reality, Clark and the Indiana Fever shattered 11 different records in that game alone. I've broken down every second of the Fever's crushing victory over the Chicago Sky, and what I uncovered will absolutely blow your mind. That triple-double? It was only the opening act of a night that rewrote the entire WNBA record book.
Having the Fever organization be what it is today, like, it is just so fun to be a part of. There's been a lot of anticipation.
You've done a great job in training camp leading to this moment. Enjoy it. Okay, go out there and have some fun.
While all eyes were glued to Caitlin Clark that night, a quietly historic moment almost slipped by unnoticed. DeWanna Bonner stepped onto the court, just 7 points shy of basketball immortality. Pause and think about that. 15 years of relentless professional excellence, thousands of points scored, and now standing on the verge of becoming the third highest scorer in WNBA history.
Bonner is the fourth all-time leading scorer in WNBA history, and in her first game with the Fever, will likely move into third all-time. She's currently just 6 points behind Tina Thompson for third on the all-time scoring charts.
Would anyone even catch this milestone amid all the Fever frenzy? That question lingered in the air as the Chicago game tipped off. Since 2009, Bonner has been quietly stacking points, rising through the ranks with Phoenix, Connecticut, and now Indiana. And here she was, just 7 points shy of overtaking Tina Thompson on the WNBA's all-time scoring list.
Bonner, who knocks it away. Cookies, TV, open court, right side, and she lays it in.
The moment of truth came in the final quarter. Bonner stepped up to the free throw line with 2 shots to take. The first swished through the net, tying the record amid roaring cheers from the crowd. Then came the second, smooth and precise, catapulting her past 7,488 career points and cementing her place as only the third player in the 28-year history of the WNBA to reach this incredible scoring milestone.
One more free throw for Bonner. It's in the air, and it's good. DeWanna Bonner now third in WNBA history in scoring. 7,489 points and counting. Lord, and here's the ovation for Bonner.
What makes Bonner's milestone even more remarkable is the way she's reshaped the Fever's culture. This isn't just an aging star chasing personal glory. She's a 6-time All-Star, 2-time champion, and the heartbeat of a young team hungry for a winning blueprint. When Bonner speaks in the locker room, rising stars like Clark, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull hang on every word.
You know, DB is somebody that, you know, is a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. You know, the strongest voice in our locker room is hers. And, it's fun to have been around here now for about a month just to get to learn from her and soak it in. And I'm really happy she got to do it at the free throw line and all the fans could go crazy and cheer for her because she certainly deserved that moment. And it was really awesome to see and be a part of.
The Indiana crowd rose to their feet as the PA announcer proudly announced Bonner's milestone. It was a powerful reminder that even in an age of viral highlights and rising young stars, true greatness that spans decades still commands respect. Bonner's ascent to become the third all-time leading scorer wasn't just a personal triumph, it set the stage for a night packed with record-smashing performances. With only Tina Charles ahead at 7,696 points, Bonner now eyes the second spot on the all-time scoring list. But as monumental as her achievement was, the night was far from over. Another Fever star was ready to show why Indiana's future shines with such fierce promise. Remember when skeptics doubted Aaliyah Boston's ability to dominate, especially against fellow South Carolina alum Camila Cardoso, who towers at 6 feet 7 inches? Those doubts were crushed in the most emphatic way imaginable during the showdown with the Chicago Sky.
All right, y'all. Hey, good stuff. Okay, we did a lot of really good things. I thought our defense was really good, and when we had lapses, we played through possessions. All right, so we made things happen. Y'all, overall, just hell of an effort.
Boston came into her third season with a chip on her shoulder. She wasn't just aiming to be a great player, she was determined to cement herself as a franchise cornerstone alongside Clark, forging the dynamic duo set to drive Indiana's success for the next decade. The foundation of something truly special was taking shape in Indianapolis. The Chicago frontcourt, however, arrived full of confidence. Angel Reese had spent the week boldly declaring she'd dominate the paint against Boston. Through Instagram posts, press conferences, even warm-ups, Reese was loud and clear. She expected to own that matchup. Boston's reply? A defensive masterclass that left everyone speechless. 5 thunderous blocks sent Sky shots sailing into the stands, igniting the crowd and forcing fans out of their seats, eyes locked on the scoreboard. Every time Reese rose for a shot, Boston was there, waiting, ready, unyielding. That defensive dominance propelled Boston to 6th place on the Fever's all-time blocks leaderboard, a testament to her rising impact on both ends of the floor. Those 13 rebounds weren't just impressive, they were historic. In only her 3rd season, Boston vaulted into 8th place on the Fever's all-time rebounding list. Think about that. Decades of players have battled on the boards for Indiana, and she's already among the franchise's elite top 10. Combine that with 19 points and 5 blocks, and Boston stepped into truly rarefied air. She became only the 2nd player in WNBA history to start a season opener with 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks. The first being Natasha Howard back in 2014. That's elite company for any player, especially one still so early in her career.
Yes, great job of those long arms of the Aaliyah Boston here, going up multiple times and then...
Clark to Boston connection was flawless all night long. Clark kept locking in on Boston, delivering pinpoint passes, whether it was a slick high-low feed or a perfectly timed bounce pass, setting her up for easy buckets. Meanwhile, Boston stood guard like the rim held state secrets, shutting down every lane Chicago tried to exploit. Though Reese pulled down 17 rebounds, her offensive game faltered badly. She shot just 5 for 14 from the field, constantly stymied by Boston's impeccable timing and defensive positioning. What was hyped as a showdown turned into a masterclass in defense, with Boston owning the paint and controlling the tempo.
Hit it once, I'll hit it again. Pow, pow, pow! Fever dub.
But the most jaw-dropping moment of defensive brilliance came when Boston teamed up with another Fever player to shatter a record never before seen on a WNBA opening night. A partnership so dominant, it's forcing scoring wings and guards across the league to rethink how they attack Indiana's defense. What Caitlin Clark did against the Sky wasn't just impressive, it was unprecedented. In the 28-year history of the WNBA, no one has ever pulled off what she did that season opener. Not Diana Taurasi, not Sue Bird, not Cheryl Swoops, no one.